Maroons. Greetings. Now, remember on the 21st of January, 3 Maroon leaders and other entities were met with the Prime Minister at a meeting that Chief Curry was not invited. Right? Well, it turns out, from the minutes of that meeting, that the Council of Overseas Maroons, which is supposed to be a compound Maroon rooted entity, the Council of Overseas Maroons was present at that meeting, and its representative was a Mr. Colin McNeish, who is the nephew of Carol Barnett et al. So, with that understanding, I'm at a loss. How is it that the Council of Overseas Maroons was at that meeting that Chief Curry was not invited to? So are we to understand that the Council of Overseas Maroons is operating contrary to, because if Chief Curry is supposed to be representing the direction and the benefit of the community, then Council of Overseas Maroons going to that meeting against Chief Curry, along with the other 3 Maroon leaders on January 21st, would have meant that the Council of Overseas Maroons and Carol Barnett et al. Are operating contrary to what is good for the town, but is what is good for them. Because nobody even speaks, no one has ever mentioned, and it comes to transparency, to the people, to you Maroon people, what was this meeting about? It's about this $49 million US funding that they tell you is coming from the UN. It's not coming from the UN. As stated by the government, it said it's funded by the government of Jamaica, UNDP, and the Global Environment Facility. Now you have to understand, if it's funded by the government of Jamaica, and you have to understand what is the Global Environmental Facility and who funds it. Well, this is funded by the mining companies, UNDP is just a channel through which they're giving you the money, so it look like it's the mining company. So if Maroons, all you see, the Council of Overseas Maroons are rushing, and everybody is wanting to be in position on the board to control the money. That's money that we shouldn't want. If you're really sovereign, you shouldn't want the money. If you really understand your sovereignty, you can create that wealth with just the water value alone of the land. People loan you hundreds of millions just on the water value of the land. You don't, people go into partnerships with you, not even take loan, because your water is priceless. That money is funded by the mining companies. Once the Maroon captive country, that's why they bring in the other chiefs, and so that when everybody gets indebted now and take a little bit of the money, and the very document that you're going to sign to take the money, we the people need to see that document, because the Maroon leaders are representing the people, This is not their private business. We have had successive administrations treat Maroon business like it's their private, personal business, No, you're only in that position because the people put you there to represent them. It's not your private business. So the rest of Maroon chiefs, they need to inform the communities them. What is this thing that you went to a meeting about? Because everybody talking about the meeting and nobody wants to discuss what the meeting was about. The meeting was about trying to signing off on that money. And the moment you can show to be partaking in that money, then you'll be indebted to the mining companies, and they will use that, because Council of Overseas Maroons has never presented, having been declared by the observer to be on the board of the administration agency that will govern that money. Means that they have never come to us, the town, and explain to us, the town, what is going on, and say, this is what we're going to sign, this is what they are offering, this is the contract. But they have been doing things behind the town back on a constitution that is criminal and illegal, Because we can show the fraud in the signatures, These were computer lifted and placed on a piece of paper and then printed. You cannot show the live, original hand signature in pen of any of these people, It is a photocopy that was placed on the document, That's why all the dates is the same handwriting. Or if I have different signatures, but all the dates them is the same handwriting. That's a fraudulent document. But on that fraudulent document, you claim that is you have a final say for Maroon business. Carry that so-called, what they do, people, is carry that so-called constitution and present to people and say, here it says that we, the Council of Overseas Maroon, have this role. And it's Carol Barnett, because since it's her house, is the address of the company, It means that all mail goes to her and nobody else knows what comes if she doesn't decide to tell them and share it with them. Now, when I did the first video, calling out Miss Barnett on the Council of Overseas Maroon, her son contacted me on Facebook. Miss Barnett, please tell your son that me no need that. Him sending me and watching my videos and telling me how great and how intelligent. It's too late. I don't need it from you now. The world acknowledged me long time. They've never needed it from Maroons. I was never doing it for any acknowledgement from any Maroons. I was born and grown and educated as a global child. In my class of Mona Prep, there was 32 children. There was 5 blacks. It means that I interface with people globally as a child, and that's my perpetual thinking. That's why I studied overseas and have children and baby mothers overseas. My thinking, my reality is global. I do not need it from Maroons. I do it because it is my responsibility as an accompanying Maroon and a son of a faster. I must do this. Now, what is this Coptic country conserving biodiversity and reducing land depredation? What is this program? It's not been told to us, the people that live here in the Coptic country. No administration, none of the Maroon chiefs have come out and explained to their people what is going on. But Council of Overseas Maroons is placed themselves over the years, because I couldn't have been a one moment thing. It means they were working on this all these times behind Maroon back. Placed themselves on the board of the agency that can govern the money. Now we understand that on that board, for example, there are salaries, annual salaries for the people who will be here like from 10 to 15,000 US dollars a year. So is that you're scrambling for? Because you can't explain to us how the money, what is going to be done in the communities for that money that you're there. Meeting with the Prime Minister behind the chief back. What is it? That means you're undermining, that is treason and treachery. So Ms. Barnett, as we said, we have already called out the FBI to the issue, There's further inquiries being made on your organization. Please tell your son, Miss Barnett, Carol Barnett, so I don't want you to send me a message and tell me I don't need no ratings from you. I don't need me entertain a conversation with you. You understand me? I don't know how you are sending me picture of Mr. Dennis Foster, like you want to try to tell me, say, my family is anything bad. It's my family, you can't do anything. He's one of the most upful. He is the CEO of a compound news. It was Mr. Dennis Foster that saved the compound from the trick of Timothy McPherson, while the Council of Overseas Maroons was looking at seat on Timothy McPherson's board of bank board. That's the hypocrisy. So Miss Barnett, please tell your son I don't want him in no more contact with me because I'm going to take it offensive. I don't know why all of a sudden when I call you out, him run, come think I look in Fred. I have an army of women, and I move in a crew of men, that I am the dunce in the crew. Remember that. I move in a crew of men, real men, and I am the dunce in the crew. They're all 100 times brighter than me. That means I can only keep getting better and better, never worse. This needs to be addressed. This is treachery against the state. The fact that the Maroon chief of a compound was not invited to a meeting with the Prime Minister to deal with this conserving biodiversity project funded by the Global Environment Facility and the Jamaica government. The fact that the chief was excluded on purpose, but the Council of Overseas Maroons had a representative there in the likes of Mr. Colin McNeish, who is the nephew of Carol Barnett of the so-called Council of Overseas Maroons, which we can now state is literally criminal. The fact that that man, that is treason, that is corruption against the community, that is operating in your own self-interest. You're looking money for yourself. You're not planning to do anything for the community. Because the Council of Overseas Maroons has existed. Now, the first 6th of January since Chief Curry win, it was a compound news on ourselves that were able to bring people to make a presentation of gifts to the children in the community. The Council of Overseas Maroons is a 501c tax-free corporation in America. That means if they went to the public library and asked for books, they would get books. If they went to the man that sell books, he would give them free because it's a tax write-off. So how come we don't see the Council of Overseas Maroons sending any developmental things into the community? But is operating behind the community back to put himself in the position to collect money on behalf of the community. That means it's money in looking in a criminal and wicked to the community, and we're calling you out as criminal. The Council of Overseas Maroons is criminal. It is now time that it be called out. And the people, them understand that. The fact that you were at the meeting with the Prime Minister on January the 21st, Colin McNeish represented, and there was also a video conversation with other people in the council from overseas at the meeting. The fact that you were at the meeting readily and willingly, while the very same body excluded Chief Curry, means that you are undermining and working against the interests of the community. We know who you are. We are calling you out. You see, this one is so that it's sitting up because it needs to be fixing on the council. The administration needs to call the council to bear. Publicly, we the Maroon community people need to know what has been going on before we take it further public. We're saying, make we try and fix this. This is corruption and backbiting and treachery amongst yourself. So we said to the Carol Barnett and the Council of Overseas Maroons, you need to come and talk to the town. We said to the administration, you need to call these people up, and it must be public. If it's via Zoom, the whole town must hear what's going on, those who are interested. And let the Council of Overseas Maroons and Carol Barnett explain themselves what they have been doing, why they have been doing this all these years behind the council, the community back, and why they would go to a meeting that Chief Curry was not invited to, and why they did not be adamant and insist that Chief Curry be at the meeting. Why did they partake in that? Because before it goes public and global, and it becomes a very nasty situation for us as Maroons. Let us fix it now. We demand and call for open community arbitration and an explanation from the Council of Overseas Maroons as to why they were present at the meeting that Chief Curry was excluded from. It cannot continue like this. It has to stop.